Hey, what's up? It's Tati and I'm back with another review, this time of Vince McMahon documentary. It's called The 9 Lives of Vince McMahon. I was so excited to see this. I was like, they're gonna do this in a type of way where maybe it's like, you know, like an expose where it exposes him. I just wanted to hear the good, the bad, the truth, and all that stuff. However, it did not go that way at all. So I'll give them props with saying that as a documentary, they did a really great job with that. However, if you have seen the Dark Side of the Ring episodes, you do not need to see this documentary at all. This documentary was basically recaps of prior Dark Side of the Ring episodes where Vince McMahon did play a huge role in. So what they mean by the 9 lives of Vince McMahon, which is basically him going through scandal after scandal throughout his years as a promoter. So there was nothing really new about this this documentary. They basically took clips from the Dark Side of the Ring episodes and put them on this documentary. And this documentary was for 2 hours. So for 2 hours, I'm sitting there like, I don't even need to take notes. I know every single thing that they're talking about here. The only thing that I did not truly know was about his childhood and how up until he was around 6 years old, he was physically and sexually abused by his mother, his stepfather, and people in the neighborhood or whatnot. However, he kind of brushed those things off in his interviews, Vince McMahon's interview with Playboy, where it was almost like he enjoyed it for whatever reason. When it comes to sexual abuse, sometimes men play it off like it was supposed to be a good thing, blah, blah, blah. But hearing that, it's like, what the fuck? I cannot believe a child had to go through this. But at the same time, it's like, when you hear what he went through and what he came out to be, then you're like, well, certain things make sense, you know. And those are the only thing that was different. Also, they did talk about, you know, earlier this year when the story came out from the Wall Street Journal about the $12 million in hush money. They talked about that briefly. There wasn't really much information because since that story has broken out, I think the amount had went from 12 million to 19 million. That's only the really new information that was provided with that. And since then, nothing else. So this whole episode was basically recaps of past Dark Side of the Ring episodes. Now, if you bored, you got nothing to watch, go ahead and watch it. I think they did a good job with this. However, for somebody who's like me, who actually watched Dark Side of the Ring episodes at least twice each, this was just basically me watching it again. So it didn't really make any sense. I mean, honestly, it's not really worth the watch, but you can watch it if you want. Nothing absolutely really new on this at all. So if you're a diehard wrestling fan like me, everything that they're going to mention is stuff that you've already seen and relived a million times. So it doesn't really make it worth it to watch. But I think it was done nicely. There were no new interviews for this, not that I know of. Well, they did have some interviews from some journalists that I think were new. I don't remember seeing those. So like, you know, our friend David Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, Vince Russo interviews I think were new. I don't remember seeing those before. So those are the only ones I can honestly think of were done specifically for this documentary. Everything else was absolutely from a particular Dark Side of the Ring episode. Another thing that was a little alarming to me, I don't know if other people picked this up, but the Plane Ride from Hell episode, obviously they were dropping names on that episode and there was a lot of backlash for it. So for this documentary, they showed clips from that episode without naming specifically Flair and Scott Hall. Obviously, because of that backlash and because Scott Hall had recently passed away, they didn't mention it. That's what I think happened. But it kind of seemed a little obvious to me why they did not mention those two's names. But they did show you know, those reenactments that they have during the episodes, they showed those, but without being specific. Like, they literally wouldn't say their names. But for every other story, they were specific with naming who was involved. So I thought they strategically did that on purpose, for whatever reasons or whatever. But this was not something that I would recommend. If you don't know anything about wrestling, sure, I'll tell you to watch this. If you've already seen Dark Side of the Ring episodes, I'll tell you to skip it. But it was done nicely. But if you've already seen these episodes, it doesn't even make sense to watch it at all. So they just had very brief information that you probably never heard of, but they went through all those scandals briefly that they've already aired. So it doesn't really make any sense to me as to why they would release this. I would have waited some time to see what would have happened with this case, with the hush money thing, where they would have had some really new telling information to provide along with a documentary. But it absolutely was nothing new at all. But hey, if you want to watch it, go ahead. Definitely not worth it to me. I was very bored. So if you've already seen these episodes, you probably would not get much entertainment from this. But I will say this though, Vince McMahon, he contributed in the biggest way with pro wrestling, with sports entertainment, you know, in ways that is still influential today, that you don't just see in WWE, but you see in other promotions as well, through AEW, Impact, GCW, all these places. They've all taken little things from WWE because those things were successful. And if you do take those type of styles and incorporate it with what you're doing, you can also have a successful business as well. So as years gone by, WWE went from being super popular to, you know, their ratings dying down. And although they're doing the worst in ratings that they've ever done previously, they're the most profitable that they've ever been. And it's not due to just the fans buying merchandising and things like that. That is due to you know, all these partners and all these advertisements and things like that. So WWE, yeah, their attitude has definitely gone away, but they do have entertaining things here and there that people could still enjoy. However, I have not been personally sports entertained as of late, but I do, you know, take a look at recaps and things like that, things that might be worth watching. You know, throughout the years, people just see Vince McMahon being a certain type of way on TV, especially with other women, and how he treated his wife Linda. And I think that's why a lot of people, once this whole situation came out earlier this year about the hush money, people just wasn't fazed by it at all. Many people's response was, oh, Vince McMahon? That's just Vince. Like, to be honest, what is almost like what you saw on TV is what he's like in real life. So it didn't really make any difference to many of the fans or many people who heard the story break out that something like this would happen. Now, if you want to check out this documentary, go ahead. It's on Vice. It's 2 hours. So it's not like an hour episode like Dark Side of the Ring or Tales from the Territories. I do think it was done nicely, so I do have something nice to say. However, definitely not worth it. I cannot believe I wasted 2 hours. But go ahead and check it out, you guys. There will be a new season of Dark Side of the Ring. They've already started filming that a couple of months back. So once that comes out, I will be back with reviews. So in the meantime, I'll find something else to review. Thanks for watching. Bye.